Guys, Russian Badger got famous for one thing and one thing only. That is Rainbow Six, weird Rainbow Six videos. This one is Dr. Doom. Let's get into it.
Doc, I'll give it to you, just make sure you're standing still. Okay. Oh, what, you want a second one? Because every greedy Jaeger main needs a second shot? I'm gonna shoot you right in the helmet. Oh, I hit your mouth. Yeah, don't even say thank.
Is there anything more iconic in every FPS game that has roles for everyone to be desperately pleading for the medic to heal them? Being a medic main is thankless, and I'm sure I'm glad you guys do exist.
Thank you, you damn junkie.
You need a doctor.
Guys, I also want to point this out, that if you haven't already subscribed to me on Twitch, twitch.tv/combatvetpaul, I'm streaming at least a couple of days a week now. I do Tarkov, but I'll do any FPS that strikes my fancy. Definitely want to come over there.
You need several doctors.
So I think I spoke too soon on that whole Operation Health is fixing matchmaking from the last video, because what I should have said was Operation Health is fixing matchmaking for casuals. Filthy fucking casuals!
Ah, casuals.
Noob.
I've never not been a casual at a game. I'm not even a good casual, frankly.
Now that I've fooled around in ranked for a couple weeks, I've landed myself in garbage tier Platinum 3, and my wait times for casual queue, not ranked queue, casual queue are up to 30 minutes long. I really wish I was kidding, but I'm not.
Guys, if you guys were on stream, you know that this is actually a really common issue, is these phenomenal matching queue times. In fact, I would say a large number of FPS games have these tremendous queue times, and I think a big driver of it is the fact that there are a lot, and it seems like it is somehow profitable to make the same game multiple times. I'm looking at PUBG, Call of Duty Warzone, Apex. These are extremely similar games with minor tweaks, and yet even Fortnite, right? Minor tweaks, but essentially the same game appealing to the same audience. And while it is inexplicably profitable to manufacture or develop these games and distribute them, it still sort of means that that core audience is going to be diluted among dozens and dozens of games. And this is true if you're looking at battle royales, match-based FPSs, real-time strategy. Almost any multiplayer game is going to be subject to this dispersion of users. I love one of my favorite games ever, MechWarrior Online, and the truth is I had to stop playing it, not because I didn't absolutely love the people I played with, but because the queue times became longer and longer and longer as fewer and fewer players were on that particular game and more gravitated to other giant battle mech engineering combat games, which actually I think a lot of their audience was like World of Tanks and War Thunder.
Dirty to me.
And if you've been on my Tarkov stream, you may have known that for a little bit there was a bug in the system, and they instituted queues, and the queue times, I was once the 50,000th person in the queue. Why you would even tell someone that is just boggling to me.
On the off chance that you've never played ranked before, it's the quote-unquote competitive mode in which there are not only 5 enemies on the other team, but there are also 4 additional enemies on your own team that throw tantrums and flame you while you carry them to a higher ranking than they deserve.
You guys fucking suck. I'm fucking done. You guys are shit.
An enemy has been slain.
Yeah, this is actually true in the real military as well. Man, I used to joke when I was in my unit that there was about 5 of us that were really committed to actually making the unit run every day. Everyone else was either too stupid, too lazy, or both to be effective at their jobs. It is really frustrating when you receive some sort of, and they're usually arbitrary missions from higher, and this is in garrison, but it was still true also when we were deployed. You would receive some arbitrary mission from higher to count this or report on the status of that, and you didn't want to do it, and it may not have even been your job, yet you knew for certain that the operations NCO or the maintenance chief that was responsible for it was never going to get it done. And if there was an even remote chance that the higher headquarters that requested it was going to call down and chew your ass out for it, it meant that you were going to be out there counting widgets or trying to get the status of your banana order or whatever it was. It wasn't really bananas. I'm using examples. I always used to tell people that when I was deployed, the U.S. Army had two enemies. One was the Taliban and the other was itself. Never had I seen an organization so petty and politicking and sniping as the U.S. Army.
You can kill yourself.
Triple kill.
Just shut up, dude.
Why is he running a... This is a bizarre weapon, by the way, guys. I'm just here to tell you. Let's walk it back a couple of frames. Yeah, this looks like a grease gun from World War II. That's that side-fed magazine, but it has inexplicably what looks like a Picatinny rail on the barrel and a raised optic, but it still has iron sights. Dude, this thing is a crime against God. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah, I love the psychology behind Rank Q. It's almost as if we have a vested interest in encouraging and motivating each other so that we can all win and rank up together, right? Nah, fuck that, dude. I'm gonna flame and berate you assholes all the...
I love how we can know exactly who Sunglasses Badger is. He's the asshole in rank.
Way down to silver in an act of self-sabotage because I'm an idiot. And because I don't want a 30-minute wait time for each game that I play, I was forced to set up an alternative Uplay account just so I could, you know, play the game. Hey, do I get an achievement for this? Action completed. Action completed. Action completed. Action completed. Oh, that's pretty neat. And I would be remiss if I didn't dedicate a video to the mascot of Operation Health, Doc, or as I like to call him, Dr. Doom, because all he does is abuse his powers and shove blue things into people.
Listen, the real Dr. Doom, I think he was actually a good guy, right? Like in lore, Dr. Doom could forecast the world, and he knew the only way to save humanity was that he was in charge of it. Like, he's not a bad guy, he just is at odds with Superman. Or whoever, or the Fantastic Four, right? God, I'm sorry, I'm embarrassing myself here.
What? That's the best I could come up with. What else are we gonna call him? Dr. Octopus?
What are we gonna call this guy?
Dr. Octopus.
That's crap.
Dr. Octopus.
Crap.
Dr. Octopus.
That's pretty good.
His magical power is his stim pistol that can not only heal people, but it can also revive them from a down position. And people love this blue juice so much, they will quite literally kill each other to get it.
Man, what are they? They're called Blue Chews, right? Blue Chews are the chewable Viagra. Yeah, I don't know. Do they sponsor videos? Is it legally allowed? Can a medication sponsor videos? I mean, I guess I've had... I don't know. That's a good question. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any perspective on this.
Using a frag.
Nope.
Yep, right there. I need
Nope.
to do
10
small-
seconds.
You've only lost 10 health. I'm not gonna give you a stim shot for that.
Sounds clear.
5 seconds left.
What do you mean no? You're a certified doctor. You're a certified doctor.
Cap?
Okay, certified doctor can mean a lot of things. All right, here's what I will share with you guys. So if you are a SWAT team, you usually have a SWAT medic. This is someone who is an expert, but in a really narrow set of things, namely stabilizing a whole bunch of different kinds of injuries so that they can last long enough to get to a hospital. That's it. They don't know anything about treating an infection because almost no infection is going to kill somebody in time to get to the hospital. I won't say they know nothing. A lot of medics just sort of pick up more and more about all of medicine just by virtue of being in their job. But SWAT medics particularly are meant to handle like the trauma injuries that come from SWAT operations. Now, you also have... And those usually look like EMTBs, basically, a certain level of emergency medical technician. And in the military, medics have a little bit of a different role because they are expected to be basically the first line, the primary care point for soldiers who are deployed or in the field. So a medic would be expected to have knowledge about how to manage infections, assess whether or not a bone is broken, decide what that rash is, all that sort of stuff. And is expected to at least be able to render a frontline type treatment to resolve it or triage it, i.e. decide if they need to be moved up to the next higher level of care. That next higher level of care is almost always a battalion surgeon, who is a physician's assistant, or a senior medic. And then that senior medic in the battalion level can decide if that person needs to be medevaced to a serious level of care, like a surgical center, or go up to just the brigade surgeon, who is usually an MD. What is interesting, of course, thanks to the magic of, phone calls and computers, all these levels of expertise can consult with each other on complex issues. So there's rarely any surprise cases where a medic or battalion surgeon is going to send them up, or battalion medical officer maybe, it's going to send someone up to a hospital without prior notice. And in a way, that's sort of helpful for combat hospitals, though it's worth noting that, of course, battlefield casualties, the rules are different, right? If it's a battlefield casualty, almost anyone can make the call for a medevac. I have called medevacs myself, right? And that's because they just give you that leeway, because it is so crucial to get combat casualties to medical care within 60 minutes of their injury. And in combat, there's a very, very clear line. If you can walk, if you're ambulatory and you're not bleeding out, right, it's pretty easy to tell if your life is in danger of ending in the next 60 minutes or not. And if it is, then you call a medevac.
KAPKAN'S, Doctor. Where's
You have a Band-Aid.
It's actually life, limb, or eyesight, right?
Come on, you're a doctor.
That you want to preserve. If you're at risk of going blind or losing a limb, but not at risk of dying, they'll still be like, medevac it right away.
During the assault.
Shoot me. What are you gonna do? Shoot me?
Yeah.
He can help me.
There's some Russian medicine.
Reloading! Cover me!
The ability to instantly heal and revive at range is a fantastic
There's our boy medic from TF2 looking slick.
way to support your team, and B, a great way to turn them all into juice-addicted fiends.
Reloading!
I have another one.
It bounced right off. Oh no, it's still hit.
Here, I'll boost you up. Boost. Go, 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 go.
I love that name. That's a lot of bees. That's a real problem. I mean, not in the military or anything. Just a lot of bees would be a problem.
Nice.
Either way, you'll definitely be injecting most of this epinephrine into the German defenders, because much like
Wait, is that what it's supposed to be? Epinephrine? Dude, epinephrine is used for like a really narrow set of things. Okay, it definitely isn't a heal-all. I think it's meant to like restart your heart if your blood pressure gets really low, or keep it beating. And I think it's meant to... I think that might be it. I think it's a vasoconstrictor, so that if you are bleeding out, it tightens all your blood vessels so the blood gets pushed towards your core. I imagine that it probably has some really serious side effects and is probably not great to just be shooting into people willy-nilly.
Pro Genjis and Hanzo mains in Overwatch need a Mercy, Bandit and Jaeger definitely need a doctor all the goddamn time.
Doc, come on, man!
House!
I need healing.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Oof, man, that was a little bonsai for my taste.
All units, be advised, I totally don't want to die. All units, I'm slightly better than I was a second ago.
And as much as I want to tell you to never get high on your own supply, juicing yourself up makes you harder to kill than a lone wanderer from Vault 111 that's addicted to Psychojet. Just think about it this way. Doc is already a solid 3-armor operator. He's on defense, which means that he has access to another layer of armor from Rook, and he can overheal for 40 more hit points. So slap on that skull-looking mask of his and prepare to be more invincible than Skeletor himself.
Yeah, listen, Skeletor took a lot of L's, but it's true. You know what? He never got killed, and He-Man was pretty yoked.
You're gonna die. Glass.
Not if you overheal. What the fuck was that?
He has bad reaction.
You stay lying down, by the way. Oh my god, he's gonna meme him. Oh my god, not this. No.
Wow, that was an impressive kill. Am I gonna get demonetized though? I can hear some inappropriate audio getting queued up.
I can miss 2 shots. You overheal, man. It compensates for accuracy, my guy.
Oh my god.
I'm just sad I didn't pick up a second root plate on the way over.
Compensate for accuracy.
Dude, that was pretty wild. Just eating rounds. There are rumors, and I'm gonna call them rumors because I don't know if it has a lot of scientific validity. There are rumors that on certain drugs, a person can also just eat rounds that would otherwise be fatal. And my theory would be that it actually operates like epinephrine, that certain types of stimulant drugs will also be vasoconstrictors and will force blood pressure to rise, and it'll concentrate, push that blood out of your extremities towards your core. And so therefore, if you get shot in the shoulder or arm, or even in the torso, that if you're on those drugs, you can just keep powering through because your blood pressure remains stable, right? Or drops less rapidly. And so that may be the basis for those myths, is my guess, but it's not one of those things where you can just be tough enough. Like, wow, they're so tough, they got shot and kept going. Like, nah, dude, you don't have a choice. Either you have enough blood pressure for your brain to function, or you don't. Like, that's pretty much it.
Pick up another one. Oh, you should, maybe heal Rook.
Oh, what a good idea. Oh, Rook, let me hit you. Oh. Whoops, I missed. Sorry.
Now, where enemies get really frustrated with you is when you revive yourself, because as long as you have 1 stim shot remaining, you can pick yourself up from a down state and cheese whoever was shooting at you. So don't be surprised when the enemy specifically targets you over everybody else.
Okay, I love that disable the diffuser animation. It's just hitting it with a buttstock. I'm also going to share this. A lot of those buttstocks are now lightweight polymers. Which is a euphemism, of course, for plastic. They're pieces of plastic, so I doubt you're going to be able to break through a Pelican case with a modern collapsible stock. That butt stroking people is a throwback to the days when stocks were made out of wood, and hitting people with this buttstock of your rifle was like clubbing them.
Diffusing device is disabled.
Fuck you, Doc.
Okay, I will say this. I've never heard of a self-revive medical care, but what they do have is that the guidance is that every person has when I was deployed, an IFAK, an improved field something kit, medical kit maybe. Something kit? I don't know. I don't know what it stands for, but it's an IFAK. And it's basically, the guidance is always never use your IFAK on someone else. That IFAK exists to treat your injuries. So if you come upon a wounded comrade and you can still find their IFAK, you will pull their bandages out of it, their cat tourniquets, and you will, treat their wounds with it. The idea, of course, is that you don't want to use your medical supplies to treat a friendly, then you get hurt and there's no supplies to treat you.
Surprised face?
I saw like glowing eyes.
Obviously, reality gets a vote. If you need 3 tourniquets to staunch some bleeding, guess where you're gonna get them?
Behind you. Enemy down. What? He's not. Oh.
Nice!
Oh!
Perfect!
Oh my god!
Kapkan got him.
I think I've heard of people applying tourniquets to themselves, but I don't know if I've ever, not from any source that I would consider verifiable.
The clutch!
So I think the self-revive is probably just a meme.
Yes!
Oh.
What
Yes!
a clutch Kapkan trap.
That was divine intervention.
Ridiculous.
That was the only explanation for that.
Oh my god.
And even though his stim shot is amazing, there are some things it can't fix. A prime example is that it can heal physical wounds, but it cannot heal emotional wounds.
Isn't it bad that you, with that face mask on, like your Jigsaw, you look less terrifying than the regular Valkyrie skin?
You know what?
Yes.
I'm not surprised by that.
That is a super creepy mask. It looks like some Japanese kabuki puppet show work right there.
But at the same time,
I hear a twitch.
It makes me sad.
Drone.
It's like you come up to me and you're about to say, I want to play a game.
Do you want to play a game?
Also, it can't fix Smoke's arms. I'm not sure what their deal is. Like, sometimes they're invisible, sometimes they're paralyzed. Whatever's wrong with them, Doc cannot fix it.
Why you gotta do that to me, Walrus? Now I'm exposed.
So they get fucking pinched on.
No, not they get pinched, and then they just have an extra peak spot to kill me.
Well, if I die, that is.
I mean, is it a law that there has to be a gas mask on at least one character skin of every FPS?
Which you will.
You're assuming a lot here, Badger.
Yo. I'm assuming right now that you're gonna die because you're Smoke and you're still glitched and you have no arms.
That you've said it,
you have
now
no arms, and
it.
I'm Doc. I'm not giving you arms.
They actually recently did the first arm transplant. I say recently, I think it was like 3 years ago. But apparently it was relatively successful, and with some physical therapy, the recipient was able to like sign their own name and stuff, which is huge. I mean, imagine losing both your arms.
Look at me. I have arms.
Yeah, but sometimes you don't, and I just don't like it when you don't have arms. Because when you're peeking,
Weight
I feel
reduction.
embarrassed that an armless man killed me. It's embarrassing.
Weight reduction, bro. Oh shit! Everybody's dying over there. Thank you.
I don't like when you don't have arms. What's that? As a medical professional, I cannot recommend you lacking arms.
That is true. That's a true fact right there.
Now that you understand how valuable your stim shots are, you'll need something to protect yourself so that you can actually use them, which is where his guns come in handy.
I need a weapon.
Right this way.
Allow me to say right away that I'm most definitely not an MP5 user. I know it's super effective and reliable and consistent, but it's also boring as all hell. Like, do you really want to be that toxic Doc that juices himself up before spawn peeking with an ACOG?
Medic! Medic! Medic!
I just love how Team Fortress 2 audio lines are just the basis for all games. Like, there should be a mod for every FPS that switches out whatever the default lines are with TF2 lines. I would love that for like Tarkov.
Real men spawn peek with the Magnum, which happens to be my favorite sidearm. Not only because it hits like a lumberjack, but also because it's incredibly satisfying to finish people off with.
Pull the trigger! Do it! Do it, motherfucker! Pull the trigger!
Oh man, been a while since I heard a Rick and Morty quote.
Just so we're clear though, the iron sights kind of make me want to shoot myself with it, Brandon Fraser style. I would honestly pay $100,000.
Oh, shout out to him. See, this is a toy, guys. No need to demonetize. This is clearly a toy.
Renowned for a hollow on this thing. It should come as no surprise that my go-to weapon with Doc is the shotty because it hits like a shotgun should, and much like the Spanish Inquisition, nobody expects it, so the element of surprise is on your side.
Pro tip, run away from the man with the shotgun.
Fun fact, guys, a shotgun, okay, when you shoot, there's two sorts of rounds that can go out of a shotgun. Slugs and buckshot. There's actually a bunch, right? But those are the two you can like buy in a store. But buckshot, not all pellets are the same. There's buckshot, which is the largest pellets. Usually it's 8 pellets that are like this a little bit, about half the size of peas. But then it goes smaller. You can go down in intervals with more pellets that are smaller. So you end up with birdshot, which is, of course, tiny little pellets that are lethal to small animals like birds with dozens or even hundreds of pellets. And finally, you have things like target loads, which are incredibly small and just meant to break apart clay targets, which are pretty brittle and will break apart even when they hit the ground. All that to say, very few of them will punch big, nice, beautiful holes in walls. Usually they will leave a bunch of, well, BB-sized holes.
Paired with the fact that you're a bullet-absorbing ball of rubber, you can often be riddled with bullets and still have time to blast people away with buckshot because you're such a juggernaut.
I love the fact that he's got the kazoo version of this just to save me getting demonetized. Thanks, Russian. I wonder if this kazoo cover will be copyrighted. Can you copyright a bad kazoo cover? I'm sure you could. I mean, there's one thing we know. It's that music doesn't have to be good to be copyrighted. Okay?
Yeah, I just survived 213 damage from the other team, including 121 damage at one time from Glaz that I only survived with an overheal. So don't let anybody ever tell you the Doc isn't a—
Ooh, buddy, damn, he just ran through people.
Monster.
I'm like some kind of berserker, but with guns.
It makes your preparation phase a blast because shotties make it infinitely easier to shoot drones like portable clay pigeons. What about his drone family? 2 little drone kids? Someone isn't returning home. Not that I'm part—
Drones don't have feelings, guys, FYI.
Part of any sort of anti-P90 fan club. I love occasionally running with a gun that shoots plastic beads at people because, hey, it doesn't matter what kind of bullet it is. If you hit the guy in the head, all it takes is one.
Shut the front door.
Monty was trying to get a soda, and I was like, nope. You're too thick already.
So we've had this discussion. Apparently there are real, not militaries, but organizations that use the P90. I guess the Secret Service does? Who knew?
Ready.
No, you will remain parched.
Working.
Right in the face. No, I heard her on the barbed wire. She basically tripped on it. Yeah, she's right there. Everybody hates in the P90, but if you hit him in the—
Okay, it's really interesting that they have deployable barbed wire because barbed wire is a great obstacle. An obstacle is the military doctrinal term for anything that is going to either slow the enemy's advance or force them to turn around back the way they came, or just turn along and go along a different route. So using barbed wire, just like he used it, is a perfect example. It slowed the enemy's advance. It's not conventionally used as a early warning system, but oftentimes barbed wire can be partnered with an early warning system, sometimes trip flares or something as simple as a noisemaker. Of course, we use barbed wire now in the top of our forward operating bases to prevent people from scaling the wall, and it's a really effective technique.
The head, it doesn't matter. Doesn't.
P90 is shit.
Oh, I dropped Ivana.
Oh, that fucking weaponized fidget spinner.
Are dead.
Hey! I got the Cyclops too.
Good lord, dude.
I mean, the irony, of course, is that the MP5 is great, but it shoots a far weaker round than the P90. But, I mean, I understand. The game has to be balanced somehow.
And the Nazi.
Thermite's outside.
Yeah, he's down.
Oh, you got him?
He's down.
Just be careful about spraying into drones during the preparation phase, because I always seem to accidentally friendly fire teammates and have to quickly bribe them with juice to avoid getting team killed.
Shit. Sorry, Smoke. I'll juice you. Please don't murder me.
And I know it's unpopular, it's definitely not the meta, but I think Lurking Doc is best Doc. Just try to pretend that you're playing Kavera, that'll do the trick.
Bam! Nailed him!
You're such a lurky Doc.
No, this is how you play Doc. You turn the entire map into a haunted house.
Lurking.
How do you play Doc? What?
I don't know.
Oh.
Guys, the interesting thing about metas is that they're, in some ways, self-correcting. Sometimes not. Sometimes the meta is just too decisive. But oftentimes what you see is that, like in the real world, when a strategy becomes really popular, for example, in warfare, right? Let's use an example of the battleship, right? It becomes really popular. The battleship was the meta. And it was so common that countries would dedicate their forces to figuring out how to counter these battleships. Oftentimes, this would be non-superpower countries trying to understand how to counter the battleship's meta. Here's an even better example. The US's carrier groups. The United States, for basically 70 years, has decided that its meta in naval warfare is the carrier battle group. These are large groups of ships centered around an aircraft carrier, oftentimes with dozens of different role aircraft. And they can run operations for a long period of time off of these aircraft carriers. But the US is all in. No other country, the next largest number of aircraft carriers, I believe, is 2, and the US has 12. And its carriers are larger by several multiples of the next largest aircraft carrier. I say that because that is clearly the meta. So, just like in games, when you have a meta, the search for counters becomes overwhelming. And in the case of the real world, China's counter to the aircraft carrier meta is a very special type of missile. It flies faster than the speed of sound, it hurtles through the atmosphere, is very hard to detect, and supposedly is accurate enough to hit an aircraft carrier, even though it will change its position and direction of travel several times between the rocket's launch and the warhead's impact. So the warhead has some sort of self-guiding element to it that can find and finish an aircraft carrier. The funny thing is, it's not clear that it works. We're not sure if this missile actually can hit a moving aircraft carrier, but the danger is enough that US forces will think twice before launching an aircraft carrier, meaning that they will have to find a new meta. Just like in games, when there is a meta for a certain style of play, countering that style of play will become a priority for people that don't engage in it. And eventually, when enough people counter that style of play, the meta will become extinguished. Again, not always, but often enough.
He's right here.
The one that has an MP5.
Oh, Hughes is here too. Drop and drop.
Mission successful.
Doc's haunted house, where everybody dies, admission is free, and there's no bathroom breaks.
This lurk technique is enhanced by using the right charms to bait your enemies, which is a much more effective method of killing an enemy than you may imagine.
Oh, that one's gonna hurt!
What's with your, do you have any particular, like, thought process when it comes to your
Okay, that fake sushi charm on a gun is actually pretty cool.
selection of charms, Badger? What's with the sushi on this one?
Because I'm trying to lure out Hibana. What does it look like?
True.
Good thing for you, if you're lurking correctly, your enemies will let you know. So if they immediately throw something into chat after dying, you know you've hit Apex lurk status.
Question marks?
Bully!
How? You piece of shit. Report it.
Now this lurking technique does leave you as the last operator standing much more often, but the key to clutching with Doc is just remaining calm. Like, most players freak out when they hear the diffuser planted, while they should move slowly and methodically. It's guaranteed to work out some of the time.
Yes, this is actually tactically sound. You should never move any faster than you can move safely and securely, right? If you're going to make a mistake, you should make a mistake with your eyes and ears open, and you can't do that if you're charging headlong. Right, even when you have something in the U.S. forces doctrine, we had what's called a QRF, or a quick reaction force. This is basically a reserve combat force that sits around, usually on a forward operating base, just meant to support units in the field that get into trouble. Trouble can even be something silly as we need a tow truck and someone needs to escort the tow truck out. But the QRF always can get out fast. They're as ready as they can be, but they still need at least a 25 to 30 minute lag time, because they are always going to get their location, they're always going to check the route, they're always going to get a basic intel update. And in order to do all that, and even if it's just basic, like, what do you need exactly? Who will we need to babysit? Do you need anything special from us? Right? And we're never going to drive faster than we can safely maneuver, right? Because there's no QRF for the QRF. There actually is, but it's way more complicated. It's usually like helicopters sitting at the brigade level. And the brigade will be mad if you have to call out their QRF for a not very good reason.
One friendly operator remaining. Disable the bomb diffuser. Good work.
If you want
I still love that disable animation.
to get goofy, you can always pull an Anthony Pitt and revive the enemy. Yes, you can use your stim shot to revive enemies and give them a second chance in the engagement.
Nope, you still suck.
And finally, in case Skeletor headgear just isn't your style, the Rorschach mask is a neato-looking alternative that I'm surprised
That is pretty cool.
I don't see more often, given how menacing it looks.
See you in my nightmares.
And that's about it. I would like to thank you very much for watching, and be sure to tune in next time when I try to get Aku out of my head. I know I told you guys a while ago that my brain at idle when I'm not thinking about anything else is Ocean Man.
All right, that's pretty weird. I don't know if I want to do any of this. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff here. Let's see what he says. Now I look at my daily life through the lens of this whole action completed glitch. Throw a burrito at a baby. Action completed. Listen to 2 Chainz while wearing 2 Chainz. Okay, listening to 2 Chainz while wearing 2 Chainz should actually be a rewardable activity in the real world. I don't know what that reward would be, but you should definitely be entitled to it. Okay, guys, thanks so much for joining me. Do follow me on Twitch, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.